Hi guys, I'm back again. I've got a little bit of a break in the weather today. The wind should be dropping below sort of 10 mile an hour for the first time in the last week or so. As I mentioned in the last video, I want to push these ihunter patriots out to 50 meters. I think it will be, well, I think it's going to be quite shocking really. I'm not confident that I'm going to be able to establish anything of a group with these at that sort of range. I'm going to be running through my exact heavies that I've been using now for a number of years. This particular batch is from 2010 and have proven to be an incredibly consistent and well-formed pellet. Last week, 25 yards outdoors, that was a dozen shots in relatively wind-free conditions. That was a 9.5mm group, outside edge to outside edge, so that was a nice respectable group. The Patriots, the best we could do with those was a 4-inch group. Again, that was 25 yards, relatively wind-free outdoors. I don't hold out much hope at 50 meters. I think the groups are probably going to be more than twice the size of this. But I tell you what, pause the video now and drop a comment and let me know what you think the group sizes are going to be with these at 50 meters. And then we'll see at the end who got the nearest. I'm going to go and quickly prepare a large target backstop. I've got a board set aside up one of the farms already. That backstop board is about 1200 wide by just under a metre tall. So I'm hoping to keep most of these on that board. So we'll see how it goes and I'll meet you up there. Right, the targets are out at 50 meters, so that's what, 52 yards or thereabouts. I've got that huge board out for the Patriots, and I've got on the standard Bisley little cards that we've been using for the exact heavies. I'm going to shoot the heavies first, and then I'll move on to the Patriots. I've got quite a bit of wind coming from right to left. It's fairly consistent, but it's fairly strong, so we will see a little bit of drift towards the left of the targets. The gun's also zeroed at 25 yards, so I'm just going to aim at the crosshair, so we should see all of them pellet strikes come in around 1 inch to 1.5 inches lower than the crosshairs on the target, but that's to be expected. So don't forget, I'm just shooting groups, I'm not aiming off. I'm literally putting them straight down the centre line of the target, so we will get that drift for the wind, but of course we're just aiming to measure group sizes. We're taking out any shooter error. We're literally measuring the group sizes. So I'm going to try and do it all in one take, and then I'll run you down there. It's a little bit overcast at the moment, but it's really hot. It's 28 degrees. Gun's been quite well acclimatised to it. Hopefully we can put in some groups despite this wind. Right, so that's perfectly down the centre line. It's a 1.5 low, which is about what I would expect for the scope of this height with a 25 yard zero. That one's touching it. Right, last one. So this will give us our benchmark. Oh, it's getting hot. ihunter Patriots, 50 meters. In a stiff breeze. Let's see what happens. I'm not confident. That's dropped 2.5 mil dots from 25 yard zero, and it's gone to the right. Holy cow. That one is 5 mil dots high. That one's not far off the centre line, quite low. That one wasn't too bad actually. That one is pretty close to where I'm aiming. You're in for a treat with this lot, guys. These are bloody useless. Saw that one tumbling in flight again. It looked like it actually did a full tumble and came in sort of left and a little bit higher than the others have. I think they're so unstable that you can actually see them in flight really early on. I'm sure they're tumbling, or you get a bit of flash of light behind the back of the skirt when they're not flying true. I bet they're wobbling all over the place. Flipping heck. That one went well high. I think so far we've got something like a good foot group. Oh my god, there's a bramble just encroaching on the right hand side of the target, and I've just clipped the bramble, so that must be a good 2 foot to the right. I hope it's marked the board. When I take you down there I'll show you where it's hit, but it's hit this little bit of bramble that's coming across the bottom. That's ridiculous. So bearing in mind the breeze is pushing from right to left, so we'd expect the target to be peppered on the left side. That one went 2 foot to the right nearly, it looks like through the scope. Oh, that one nearly actually hit where I was aiming. So that's 1 out of 9, 10, yeah, 1 in 9 has actually hit the target where I expected so far. Right, last one. See if we can get one even remotely where I expect it to land. No. Oh crikey, these are terrible. I knew the groups would open up, pushing that range out, but I didn't quite expect them to be that bad. That's terrible. Let's go and have a look. Right, these pellet strikes on this board below this exact card are not from today, so this was my 25-yard aim point. We've got just over 2 inches of drop from 25 yards, so what's that, 23 meters ish to 50 meters, so that's fairly usual. With that little bit of wind drift coming from the right to left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we've got maybe a 2-inch drift here, which is quite acceptable considering that I'm not making any allowances for the wind. I'm not aiming off. I'm literally shooting them straight, the crosshair here, with my 25-yard zero. So had I aimed off, I would have given it maybe a mil dot and a smidge to the right. I would have kept these on the centre line, but as a group, not bad. It's a shame these ones missed the card. I should have really given it a bit of elevation, but I didn't. But now onto these. These are ridiculous. I have to zoom you out a bit here. Look down the bottom right, guys, down here. This pellet's sideways, completely side on. I'll get a photo of that. I need a bigger ruler. That's a 50 centimetre ruler. That's about 76 centimetres. That is not good. 76 centimetre group, you're having a laugh. Right, I'm back. It's getting red hot out there again. It's over 30 degrees again. So this is the card that I've just shot this morning. We've got essentially a 50mm group here, so it's 50mm wide, and we've got just under 1 inch tall, so 25mm tall. Considering the conditions, I was making no allowances to aim off for the wind. I should have probably given a bit of holdover to centre this back up on the card a little bit more, but I didn't. I've just stuck another piece of card on the bottom here so we can keep these. I'm going to store all of these cards for down the line, and then once we've got a load more cards shot, we can then do some decent comparisons down the line. This little bit of elevation change was a bit of a surprise. The wind was fairly consistent. I've just run a dozen of them pellets, these JSBs, straight from the tin through it. And over that dozen shots at 11.8 foot-pounds, I had a maximum deviation of 3.8 feet per second. So the gun is performing incredibly consistently. The gun's absolutely shooting as it ought to. So this can only really be a bit of wind and probably me being a little bit wobbly at that sort of range as well. However, that's last week's group with the Patriots at 4 inches. I wasn't expecting the groups to open up. That was 76 centimeters, that group, which is incredible. I've never seen anything like it ever. I can't even get that board into the shed, it's so massive. However, it does just highlight that certainly the mid to top end branded pellets are still the ones to stick with, really. I mean, JSB heavies are still the benchmark of a heavyweight lead 177 pellet in sub 12. So I've got a few more things to test next week, guys, but hope you enjoyed that one. It was certainly a bit of an eye-opener as to how poor them Patriots were. So I'll see you in the next one.